I am an introvert. And for a very long time, I pretended to be an extrovert because there's a lot of negativity and a lot of misconceptions around what it's like to be an introvert. And as I am quite ambitious, I did not want to be held back because introverts are not always as easily promoted as extroverts. But happily, things are changing. And more people can see the value introverts can bring to the business world. Nonetheless, there are still so many misconceptions about what it's like to be an introvert. And to change this negativity and to make sure people really understand what it's like to be an introvert, I wanted to share with you some of the misconceptions people have about introversion. First, a lot of people think that being an introvert means to be shy. But that's not a given. Some introverts are shy, but not all introverts are shy. A lot of people think that being an introvert means to not like people, but that's also not true. We do like people, but in smaller groups or in one-on-one situation, and we also like to spend a lot of time alone because we need time to recharge our social batteries. A lot of people think introverts have less emotions, but that's not the case. It's usually because we don't necessarily share them as openly as extroverts, and we just prefer to keep to ourselves. A lot of people think introverts are not ambitious, but that's not always the case. I'm an introvert and I'm very ambitious, but I also know introverts who are not ambitious. It is not a one-to-one correlation. A lot of people think introverts have low self-esteem, but because we don't necessarily brag easily about ourselves doesn't mean we have low self-esteem. Some people believe that introverts don't like to have fun, but that's not true. Everyone likes to have fun, introverts and extroverts. But of course, our fun as introvert might be different than the fun extroverts like to have. We might not think that attending a party is really fun, but we might think that staying home and reading a book is pure pleasure. A lot of people think introverts don't have any opinions, but that's not true. We need to think before we talk. And unlike extroverts who talk to think, we think to talk. A lot of people think introverts need to get fixed and become more like extroverts, that we need to break out of our shelves. But that's also not true. We don't need to break out of any shelf, and we can be exactly who we are and have all sorts of different jobs. Introverts can also be leaders. We might be less loud and we might not share our opinion as easily, but we can still lead a team. We can still work with other people, and we can still make decisions.